Weather Authority Chief Meteorologist Dan joining us now as we start our week and what things are looking out there for those blazes.
Yeah, well, that's one thing we're keeping a close eye on, the cruise fire as far as the weather conditions around there. Now, no big plume of smoke from the fire like we saw yesterday, so some good news. It's not burning quite as much, but conditions not necessarily favorable to help firefighters with it. Right now, still temperatures in the mid-70s. We're at a relative humidity of 33%, so staying in the low 30s. It could be worse relative humidity wise, but 33% is still fairly low. And winds out of the southwest now gusting up to 22 miles per hour. Certainly what we don't like to see, any wind in that location, but it is just how it is this time of year. We typically see the winds in the afternoon. Now, we've cooled off quite a bit to Hollister at 75, and then where the cruise fire was, we're at 76, but it's still 85 in Gilroy, so pretty hot just nearby. Elsewhere around the bay, 60s to 70s. Inland areas, the 80s, in some cases 90s in the south, like Parkfield, for example, which is currently at 97 degrees. Now, our marine layer is deepened a little bit today. The satellite picture showing mostly clear skies. I'm going to switch over to infrared. Even though our visible shot's not showing it, there are some very thin low clouds beginning to develop around Half Moon Bay. You can actually just see a little bit of discoloration on this infrared satellite image. They're very thin low clouds. They should spread eventually down into Monterey Bay tonight, but at the moment we are still mostly clear. So we'll call that clear and breezy at 6 p.m. By 8 p.m. a few thin low clouds possible. Your sunset tonight 8:28, finally starting to get a little bit earlier, and then eventually some increasing low clouds late tonight, and they could appear in the form of some fog in some locations on the coastal hills. Our big picture showing high pressure control off across the Four Corners region, and that is blocking weather systems to the north. We had a couple that passed by. Occasionally they uptick the winds like we're seeing right now, but don't bring any extra clouds or precipitation to the region, which we could certainly use, although we are out of the rainy season, so it's just not something we expect this time of year. But marine layer is deepening tonight, so they do expect some low cloud cover eventually around the bay. Again, it should be fairly limited to the bay. I probably wouldn't expect to see too much farther inland into the valleys, for example. In fact, I think the computer model is somewhat overdoing coverage of the low clouds by tomorrow morning. But as we enter the day tomorrow afternoon, we may see a little bit more of a presence of the clouds on the south side of the bay around the peninsula, and into the late afternoon hours and into the evening. Eventually we'll see those clouds fill back in a little bit more thoroughly than they did today. Now, tomorrow's winds will still be there. It'll still be breezy at times, but I don't expect the winds to be quite as strong as we saw today. So maybe some good news for firefighters there. Your temperatures tomorrow back into the 80s in the Santa Cruz Mountains and down along the coast in Santa Cruz County. Fairly comfortable with 70s there downtown Santa Cruz and Capitola. 60s out to Davenport. We go over to the east shore of the bay and we range from 74 in Aptos down to 66 in Marina. We'll be in the 70s in Watsonville, Salinas, 80s in Hollister, close to 90 in Gilroy tomorrow with a high of 89 degrees. Over to Monterey, high of 66, somewhat cool again with those northwesterly winds coming in off of the water. We'll stay cooler in Pacific Grove at 64 as well, but down away from the coast as you head into the Salinas Valley, highs in the 70s for Greenfield, 80s for King City, 90s in Bradley, in the San Antonio Valley, and 70s back toward the coast there in Carmel Valley and Big Sur. Over the next 7 days, temperatures pretty consistent on the coast, about where they should be for this time of year. Still a little breezy tomorrow, a touch cooler Wednesday, just a few low clouds in the forecast each day. We'll warm up a little bit on the coast Thursday, Friday. Another weather system will pass by to our north this weekend, which will probably cool us down a couple more degrees. And eventually we'll see a little, to start with, we'll see a little bit of wind as that system moves through coming into Friday into Saturday. And for inland cities, well, you're just going to warm up a little bit slowly through the week and probably peak on Friday. It will be breezy in the valleys every afternoon and skies will stay mostly sunny. We could see some high clouds drift in from the south this weekend.